afford. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour and minute I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Say, I need thee. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. Come on and declare it one more time. I need thee. I need thee. Oh, I need thee. Every hour of my life I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou nearby. Temptations lose their power when thou art near. I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. Every hour I need. Oh, bless. Bless me, Savior. Come on and declare it. I need thee. I need thee. I depend on you for everything.
That's why I like my other friends. This phone on trust.
Bless my Savior. I come.
Goodbye.
I need thee.
Cut off the phone.
Oh, I need thee. Every day, every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. Because you bless and you have no sorrow. You bless and you have no sorrow. And promotion comes from you. So I come to thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to, oh, bless, oh, bless. You alone can promote me, God. I humble myself before you, oh, bless. For you to let me go, God. Bless me now, bless me now. I come, oh, bless I want you to bless me now because I don't want to live it for another day. I need you to bless me now. I don't want to go and come another day. I come to thee. I don't want anything to separate us, so I come to thee. Regardless of what I've done, regardless of where I've been, God, I come to thee. I lay everything aside and I come to thee. I lay all things aside. I come to thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior.
Caribbean party, the entire region together in one big splashdown fiesta.
A Caribbean connection, a regional vibration.
I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and steel band. Irie is one love, so feel free, for we are the people of the Caribbean, showing that we don't want no basin plan.
A Caribbean connection, a regional vibration.
I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and steel band. So should every leader, for we are one people, one destination. So let us move on without hesitation.
A Caribbean connection, a regional vibration.
I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and steel band. The venue is Tobago, and it's going to be a grand show. A true Caribbean Callaloo mix up. When we start to jam up, we going non-stop.
A Caribbean connection, a regional vibration.
I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean. We grooving to calypso and steel band.
Yes. Good morning to my brothers and my brother and sister, my comrade brother, they're both Baptiste and Texman Warren. Well, I've been having a little bit of troubles. I've been locked out of Facebook with a new security code to enter in now to protect other people from coming in. So you can't enter without the protection code. People can just post on my Facebook anymore without a protection order being declared. They can't just do that anymore. Because people been hacking your account. I know if you get a security code text, and if you have one, you got one? I think everybody have that now, so everybody thing is protected now because this become absurd. Already a friend of mine sent me a request asking for money for bury some family, and I see the same request on another person's page. From another person sent the same request to me. I know how dumb that one person could be. Different name and using different person's account. So at this present time, I can't share on my Facebook page, so we are live on YouTube. So whoever you are, you share the live on other person's page, Facebook page. I can't share mine at this time. For the simple reason I haven't yet authenticate my password. Yeah. I'll put a new password in and see guys which will work. Okay. Yeah.
You share what on Gemfm, right?
Yeah, well, you could share. You should probably share on Gemfm. But I can't share on Facebook as it is right now.
The last one was talking point.
Yeah, and I'm Gemfm up and yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I see.
Back to the official page.
Yes.
At Harvard University, the rich school did John Humphrey and Sudama study. I hear they did a crash course here at the school of Woodford Square. Son, you must go to the school of selfishness and learn how to be dishonest. You must go to the school of scampishness and like Judas, learn to cheat with and kiss. You must part with your good friend Kelvin Ramnat and call him a bloody upstart. You must fool people and fool yourself in the long run. Oh son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must hate roti and yet hug up the roti man. Well son, that's the qualification of a politician. I like.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Keep the paper clear.
Bam, bam.
You could share with me on
Special breed of man with a special personality. He will promise you paradise and the promised land. And after elections, he knows nobody. He'll give his party members car, house jobs and big road. Although they have no papers, he'll put square pegs in a wrong hole. He's one who shows no pity for vagrants and for humans. If you could behave like that, my son, you on your way to be one. Son, you must watch the crime rate escalating and yet talk about race and vote catching. You must see two people on one hospital bed, then pass through the ward and just nod your head. You must talk the Queen's English in Parliament and curse obscene as you reach the pavement. You must thief and jail a man if he touch a leaf. Oh son, that's the qualification of a politician. You must slide and drink whiskey with your enemy. Well son, that's the qualification of a politician. Boomba, yeah, like boomba, jumba. Yeah, man, yeah. Granddaughter Kai.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Your soul like this.
Give me the gin. I deserve it. Give me the gin. It's nice, nice. Give me the gin. I deserve it. Give me the gin. It's nice, nice. What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for more. What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for more. Yes, I want it.
That's Mr. Kit Mitchell.
I work for it.
Work for it.
Young boy did there. I did there.
Young boy did there. I did there. Where did he there?
I deserve it.
Where the body there?
I deserve it. Give me the gin. It's nice. Give me the thing. I deserve it. Give me the thing. It's nice. What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for what? What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for what? Yes, I want it. I deserve it. I work for it. Them boy did there. I did there. I deserve it. Give me. I deserve it. Give me the thing. I deserve it. Give me the thing. It's nice. Give me the thing. I deserve it. Give me the thing. It's nice. What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for what? What did he do? Give me. I want it. What did he do? Give me. Begging for what? Where did he do? I did it. Begging for what? I deserve it.
Where did he do? Begging for votes.
They even tell the whole world at last we free. And for that the black man should be happy. But friends, when I look around I could see what they did was lie and mama guide me. Because presently in my birth country, still them hypocrite have access than me. Hear my plea, freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Sing it, children, for the young and old. Every boy and girl, let the message be told to the whole world. Freedom, save the children.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Tech.
They're going to speak the code people. Let's go. I'm going to go outside.
Some I know would never like my concept, but I wrote this song without no regret. I can see like the rest and pretending I am not conscious about what's happening. Look how much Africans now still dying, and the world see don't do nothing. But quickly they rush in Iraq fighting for the black man all still to control him. Hear me crying, freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Sing it, children, for the young and old. Every boy and girl, let the message be told to the whole wide world. Freedom, save the children. Nelson Mandela, a true example. For freedom he spent waste years in prison. Oda kill black people by millions, and God that I witness no invasion. Sharon to him massacre Palestine, and God that them barbarian play they blind. But I know for sure they can stop their time. So my people time to rise up and shine. Let them know what's on your mind. Freedom is what we need. Freedom, not maybe. Freedom is what we need.
DJ Soulcaholic.
Freedom, not make believe. Sing it, children, for the young and the old. Every boy and girl, let the message be told to the whole wide world. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Save the children. The Caribbean resource for years they train. The way they exploit us keeps that damn shame. Them take we coconut, make banana. We bauxite and go to Guyana. Trini Island, also Venezuela. Them used to wrap up the first empire. And they crossed the such Castro said never. Look how long the boats and jungle Cuba. Wake up, my brother. Freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Freedom is what we need. Freedom, not make believe. Sing it, children, for the young and the old. Every boy and girl, let the message be told to the whole world. Freedom, 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 save the children.
DJ Soulcaholic.
For the young and old, every boy and girl, let the message be told to the whole world. Freedom,
Freedom. Yes.
freedom, freedom, save the children. For the young and the old, every boy and girl.
When it's done, know this is the girl leader representing Grenada Specialist for DJ Soulcaholic. He's the maddest, baddest, sickest DJ
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
hey, hey.
Freedom, save the children. For the young and the old, every boy and girl. Let the message be told to the whole world.
Freedom.
Freedom, freedom, save the children. Young and old, every boy and girl. Let the message be told to the whole world. Freedom, save the children.
Yeah, save the children. That was the man himself, African Terror. From way back when there was cry. He always had this cry for the poor. So again, I want to say good morning to Delbert and Texman Warren, Minister Texman Warren. But last night I had a blast all here by myself. I got some songs, yes, I will play them today. Some songs with a video I wanted to run by you. I see the vehicle have taken over. One vehicle put some energy, they just want them pass by. And interestingly, I saw one lady, she was just chipping, to the NDC mascot. This guy was just doing this thing. It was really crazy. They was doing this vehicle thing with a green coffin. Yeah, that was another one. Another you saw it? Another one?
Yeah, I saw that, political theater 101 in Grenada. I mean, you gotta give the folks credit. When it comes to that, they lack no creativity, and I think it's a wonderful thing that operatives from both parties could make fun at each other. But I saw a clip where some strong NDC supporters and some very strong NNP supporters. Apparently, either they were campaigning or passing by on nomination day, and they hugged each other and high-fived each other, and that to me was what's most heartwarming about that, because Grenada is about 88,000 acres. It's not growing, so we all have to inhabit that same piece of real estate. And politics aside, we have to learn how to live with each other peacefully, and not just peacefully, but to be there to support each other when need be. And of course, it's the political silly season, so people are coming out in their colors to support their party, and that's fine. I tend not to like this color thing. I think it's not healthy for us, but it is what it is now. But I'm especially grateful. I don't know if that's the correct word. I'm especially proud of the diehards on both sides who find ways to be respectful and to show humanity, because in the end, that's what it's all about.
I just reading a piece from Cassandra here. Normally read her interesting pieces, and it reads: sharing Old Mitchell's utterances is not working in your favor. He's reminding many that NDC is an elitist party that cannot relate to the ordinary man. True or not, you all are helping his campaign. This is political beating. You all keep beating. What do you think?
I agree with that 100%. I didn't see that piece, and I mean, Cassandra doesn't need any congratulations from me. She does excellent stuff, and she speaks to the issues that probably no other person does. So I'm always looking forward to reading her posts. But there was a post this morning by my good friend Ann Williams, who is a really terrific person, very, very, one of the truly most remarkable person I know. And she had a post dealing with that. I wouldn't say it was critical of the prime minister for engaging in that kind of that pattern of behavior or so, but she sort of called him to task later. I think she wouldn't be mad with me saying that, and I responded by saying exactly what Cassandra said. One, the prime minister is speaking to his base. He knows exactly who he's speaking to, right? The prime minister has a doctorate in mathematics or statistics or whichever one he has, all right? So the man is a learned person. He's been in and around politics almost all his life. So has won, elections in Grenada many times. He's not stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. NDC has a problem. It's the Achilles heel of being that elitist party and speaking down to people. I tell the story, and I'll tell it real quickly here again. I have this friend who is a professor at University of the West Indies. She's from Grenada and from my little part of town. And she comes from a family, there's about 30, maybe more people in that family. And grandma is the matriarch of that family and runs things. But that particular person, she can, if she called to Grenada and told the family she wants Grenada to be moved and put on top of Carriacou, they'll do it for her. That's how that's how proud they are of her. She's the first person in the family to have gone into high school, postgraduate, university, postgraduate studies, everything. They're in awe of her. The one thing she can't get them to do, any member of that family. And that's 30 votes coming out of that family, probably more by now, is vote for the NDC. And why?
Let me ask you a question. What do you think strategically that NDC has to do to win that election? What do you think they have to do strategically? we have the promotion, we have all this stuff going, we have the rallies going on, and this is what's happening now. What do you think they should do strategically to get the undecided voters to come out and vote? Because I'm hearing from on the ground people that a lot of people from NDC are silent supporters of the NNP, of the NDC, right? And get it from good source that people are who, for example, the endorsement day, persons was going out and support the NDC, the NNP, because they were forced to do so by the Imani program that they had to put on this t-shirt, go there and they'll be paid for the day. But if they don't put on the t-shirt, they would not be paid. And that was coming from people who in the Imani program making those claims.
I don't buy that. If you're an Imani, you're getting a monthly stipend. So whether you show up on nomination day or not, you're gonna get your stipend. I'm not buying that. That's silly.
So my thing is that is being said. How do you put across to the undecided voters?
So I listen. Sadly, I think at this stage, the election has already been decided. We're waiting for the results now. I don't think anything is going to happen between now and then that's going to change many votes. I thought, and we said it here, we had this conversation going on now for, pre-pandemic, where we started to look in terms of what the future of Grenada should look like post Mitchell and post pandemic. And we talked about that sort of broad coalition. We talked about bringing people together. We talked about coming together and putting forward some bold ideas, groundbreaking ideas, and pointing the country in a different direction, laying out a clear vision in terms of what you want to do. And that really has not happened. So I am not, I don't know, I was in Grenada in April. I did my best to travel around the island a couple times and speak to, diehards on both sides, because I have friends on both sides. And I didn't get any thing that there was any shift. If it has happened subsequent to that, then so be it. But the NNP remains deeply entrenched in the Grenadian political fabric, and it's part of the tapestry. And I've always said that to dislodge that kind of ingrained way of life, that sort of political climate on the people, usually takes two things. It takes a broad-based coalition of political parties, maybe sometimes trade unions, members of the business community, youth, women, farmers, everybody, and you put forward your best candidates from every constituency, irrespective of whether they're a member of your party or not. So I thought that. Or the other thing is revolution, right? Revolution, it usually takes revolution to dislodge this kind of administration. That is not an option for us right now. But, and there are those who criticize me, well, where is that coalition is going to come from? There aren't any real other strong political parties in Grenada. And my answer to that is that there are a number of different people in different communities, different walks of life in Grenada, who are well respected, carries some gravitas, carries weight, has proven themselves to be successful in other areas, are unhappy with the Mitchell administration. And while they may not be outwardly or outright politicals, they want to see Grenada move in a different direction. And if invited, if pulled, if whatever terminology, they would have been willing to join our coalition. And there are some efforts made by NDC in that there are a few people who are now candidates who you can sort of assign that to. But I think a greater effort should have been made in that direction. And listen, they are trying, all right? We'll see, 3 weeks,
Honestly,
3 weeks.
Given the present construct, under what we see happening, the town halls that is happening, and the turnout in those town halls and in the NDC town halls, do you feel there's a opening that NDC would form the next government based on what watching all these town halls and so on, and the turnout?
You can't judge it by town hall. One of the largest political crowd I ever saw in Grenada was in 2013 at the old Paul's Airport, and when I saw the crowd, there was no way anyone was going to convince me that Mitchell was going to win 15-0, and he won. So that's a difficult thing to judge in Grenada, and you have people showing up to these meetings, generally the most committed ones in those respective constituencies. So they will show up. Those are the diehards. The challenge is, how do you pull those off the sideline? I've said it already, but I laugh about it, but it's actually a major accomplishment. I tell this joke, it's a joke, but it is actually true, that both in the 2013 and 2018 election, first, let's recognize that I'm not here as no party operative, I'm here as an analyst. So I saw, NNP has a political get-out machinery election day like no other. The Democratic and Republican Party in the United States would have been proud of it. We in the revolution, the NYO, the NWO, all our mass organizations would have been proud of it. They know where every single vote is. I joke that I saw them pull people out to the polls to vote that I thought were dead before I left Grenada. Okay? So the elections, these kind of elections are generally won on election day. So who has the best turnout machine, who knows where their supporters are, and who can get them to the polls, is going to be the party that carries the day.
Given all that, what we see happening now, the momentum that is being canvassing up, which has been bring by the NDC. You have statement being made by KB and them on their side that they're not happy with the turnout and the enthusiasm with the NDC, the NNP supporters. They think that they lax in, they're too relaxed, they're not showing no kind of enthusiasm, of confidence in winning the election. That's coming from our operative insider from NNP. How do you evaluate that statement coming from KB, who and the other personnel who really think that NNP is not doing as much, putting much effort into the election this time?
Well, first, KB, who is a friend, is a master at distraction. Okay, so that could be a strategy just to it could serve two folds here. It could be a strategy to force and push NDC into a sort of more overly confident position where they forget to do the basics, which is do the political groundwork and make sure that you have a machinery in place to get your votes out on election day. And secondly, it could also be a strategy in terms of sending a message to NNP supporters that, listen, we are counting on you one more time to be there. And despite whatever disappointment you may be feeling right now, this is a party that you know would have delivered for you, not necessarily for the country, but just for the political operatives, right? So we're counting on you to be there one more time. I think KB is looking, to be quite honest, beyond KB's looking for an NNP beyond Dr. Mitchell right now. He knows that Dr. Mitchell's sell-by date has passed. The thing is that I don't know whether the majority of Grenadians are feeling that.
You just said something there, right? And about Dr. Keith Mitchell time has passed, sort of political time has passed. It's almost expired, right? And he recognized himself. He wanted a last try. Do you think that the Grenadian people are also buy into that idea that, you know what, time for it to go?
I would say there's strong advocacy in that direction. There's a lot of noise coming from that side of the fence. The only thing is that it's coming from the regulars, it's coming from a lot of us who live in the diaspora and the so-called political and intelligence elite in Grenada. And listen, make no mistake, Dr. Mitchell has nothing to offer the country anymore. He has nothing to offer the country. There's nothing. This is a man who has had time and time and chances and chances and chances to really build this country if he wanted to really create a really genuine legacy. And in that, he has failed. As Pablo always say, what he's a master at is electioneering. Governing, he's terrible at, okay? And frankly, I don't know that he cares that much about governing to outside of the perks, both legal and illegal, that the affords him. So he's not interested in governing. He's interested in power, in state power, and he will do anything to maintain state power. And sometimes in these elections, it's who want it most, right? And it still appears that for whatever reason, obviously very selfish at this point in time, self-serving, he still wants to be prime minister more than anybody else in Grenada.
And having said that, though, you said something earlier on, and you often said that. Can you then, in your thinking now that NDC is revamped, do you think the message this time around is much clearer and more simpler?
No.
Maybe NDC?
No.
Why so?
Because what is the message? The message is, let's pass around on Facebook any mistakes Keith make. Let's rehash the issues of corruption and mismanagement. And let's point out that Keith is selling Grenada. That's that. I don't hear any other real message beyond that.
But recently, I haven't heard that on the last couple of platforms. I hearing about agro industry and all this stuff about agriculture and revamping the agriculture sector and doing that stuff. That's what I've been hearing lately. In Grenville, for example, in the town hall in Grenville, the message there was clear that we are going to build a country and get partnership with private sector and so on, and get more people involved in the business.
There's been no absence of the private sector in Grenada. As a matter of fact, Ken is somebody who identified that very, very, very early. There was a coming together of the political and business elite in Grenada. So there have always been great collaboration between those two camps. So the idea now that government, the NDC is going to say, well, we're going to build this new coalition or we're going to build this new partnership, that already exists in Grenada. It existed during the revolution. With all the talk during the revolution, the business community did extremely well.
In fact, all right? B-Man was on here 2 weeks ago, and he made some reference to that as well. That they gave them an incentive, local incentive, but they, again,
of course,
working along with the marketing board, we force them to keep their prices at a certain level. Because
and not only that too, but the fact that the economy was growing and expanding meant that people had more money to shop in those businesses. But also, I know of a program that it was never broadcast. I never heard it was spoken at rallies or anything, that B-Man had created, where small businessmen and medium-sized businessmen who were bringing stuff into the island, who did not have the money to clear at the port, they had a program where they would allow these people to clear the stuff, be bonded kind of, and then as they sell, they pay off their bill to the thing. These are the kind of initiatives that drive businesses. So that has existed. I just feel that NDC may have, listen, elections are very, very tough things to predict. You can't figure out where people's mind are, what's going to happen in the last week or so to change the political winds blowing in Grenada. But I don't see anything, we're a small country. Probably anything that was going to happen would have happened already. The prime minister has controlled the the apparatus of state power almost exclusively for now close to 15 years. There's very little transparency. The main opposition party knows almost nothing that happens in government. Everything is quite opaque. All right. So the only person to throw one or two surprises here might be the prime minister. And there was
the president.
There was a post going around on Facebook this week that spoke that the NDC and its political leader had put a team of lawyers in place to fight any irregularities in the poll. Now, I have said that publicly before. I know people in St. George's Northwest voted in Nazim's district in St. George's Northeast. And that was, and probably some from the town of St. George also. And that happened in St. Patrick's West also. I saw that, both St. Patrick's West and St. Patrick's East. I saw that. These are communities that I'm, fairly familiar with. And every indication that has worked for the prime minister in the past, there's no indication that he's not going to try it again. But the message was saying that Deacon had put together this team of lawyers. Well, if you have put together the team of lawyers, name who those lawyers are. Say, we have contacted these lawyers. They are experts at elections. Here is who they are. And we're going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure every legal vote that was cast for NDC gets counted and any legal vote gets thrown out. But just passing around these kind of silly messages, and then in what Cassandra says is true. In many of these messages, what they're doing is helping the prime minister, not hurting him.
But
they have not to dislodge somebody. You have to deliver a knockout punch.
Yeah, but
take the champion out. You can't win on points. You have to knock him out.
Yeah, I don't think. I personally think there's a lot to chew on in this election. I see. And I think there's a new one. There's a new vibes that going on. People, there's a silent majority that is not saying anything, and that's the danger part. The people who are not saying anything because
how are they a danger? They have never showed up. What makes you think they're going to show up now?
That's what I'm saying. That's the danger, because if they don't show up, for example, look at what happened in Canada this week. I mean, on the 2nd, 43% of the electorate, 43% of the eligible electorate turned out to vote. 22% voted for the incumbent. Yes? And the two opposition parties, the main opposition parties, the leaders, one lost his seat completely and the other one resigned. Totally, she resigned. Both resigned from the party because they had really bad showing in the election. So that party now for it would take another 10 to 15 years, probably 20 years for these two parties to really in Ontario to really put themselves back together as to be worthy for election in the next 12 to 15 years, right?
Okay.
Because the poll turnout demonstrates that, look, I'm not interested in politics anymore. There's nothing new that anybody coming in. These two people have been given a chance already, and the last one that isn't there now, he hasn't done anything greater than the other two. So we're not going to bring back the other two. We will keep what we have because all of them are on the same wavelength, And I think this one was the most sympathetic to the family as well, to the Ford family. So that stick, and that was.
I think the other thing that what could be a deciding factor in this election is the number of people who have been recruited in the diaspora to go home to vote. Right? It is quite possible that the Mitchell administration will bring in excess of 1,000 people home to vote, and that can decide the election, because they strategically will place these people to vote in certain constituencies. So NDC has to guard against that. There's question of its legality, but it happens on both sides. So if your supporters are also doing it, you can't really criticize him for doing it, because he does it better than anybody else.
Yeah, he's good at that. But I don't know. I've been listening to Deacon, and I think that he has well spoken about what and clear about what he's going to do. What my thing is how much that people are resonating towards that, how much people are paying attention to that. Probably saying, well, I heard that before. What different are you going to give me? And if you're a voter, the hype that is coming out from both sides, what are your key points are you taking away from both? Because I mean, when I listen to Dr. Mitchell, they haven't had put say anything that they're gonna do differently. I haven't heard anything from that side. What we're gonna do? I mean, apart from
you usually don't. The big ideas have to come from the opposition. So the people in power, they're generally very satisfied with themselves. They think they have it all. They think they have all the answers. So for them, it's business as usual. So that's why they came up with that slogan, "Safer Hands," right? Which had NDC, I think, been slightly better prepared, would have been able to turn that slogan against it, but it hasn't. And listen, they between now and then, it's about knowing where your voters are and the ability to turn them out on election day, and that's going to be the key.
Okay, let's a song and we come back.
Progress Bar.
This is no disrespect, but could you step aside? Another man wants to take control.
This Sunday, June 5th, the NDC Army invades Progress Bar. Everybody yellow. The St. Andrews Big Four take center stage. Gloria Thomas coming down from Northwest. Tessa Sincere from Northeast. Lennox Toes Andrews coming with the whole of Southwest. And everybody in the Southeast coming up with David Andrews.
St. Andrews Southeast say only David could be good.
The NDC charismatic leader, Dick Mitchell, will deliver another powerful presentation. Don't get left. Contact your constituency office early for transportation. Side swell up this Sunday. Progress Park from 6 p.m. Guest performances throughout the rally this Sunday. Everybody.
Yes, that was the rally coming up on Sunday in Simone. I want to play another song here. Where is it? I have another song I want to play here where is it? Is this my song?
Under the last NDC government under Prime Minister Tillman Thomas, the National Democratic Congress Security University of the West Indies campus for Hope in St. Andrew, a project that would have provided opportunities for small business development.
We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed no lie. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed no lie. Oh gosh, geek and intelligent. Wow, he's so magnificent. Oh gosh, he equally represent. Yes, and he will not relent. Oh gosh, the country about heart. Not an opinion, not is a fact. With the in the future, real bright. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. We vote in the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. All right, stick it right by the heart. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe.
Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed you no lie. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. Let go feed you no lie. Voting Deacon for Prime Minister. Oh, for a prosperous Grenada. Let's travel this path together. Oh, with Deacon on our side, the future is bright. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. We vote in the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. All right, stick it right by the heart. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed you no lie. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed you no lie. We have a charismatic young leader. Carving a bright future is the mantra. Our sweet country going. The captain to steady ship is Deacon Mitchell. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. We vote in the heart, the heart, the heart, the heart. Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote. All right, stick it right by the heart. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed you no lie. We have the best Mitchell and we like it. Young, intelligent and a vibe. The best Mitchell and we like it. This Mitchell ain't go feed you no lies.
Yes, they have the best Mitchell and they like it. Come on out and vote. Go out and vote. And this is a good message song. I like it very much. I like it. I like the tone. The first time I heard it, I think Gia tell us for post it in my message box. The best Mitchell, and she like it. And I asked her which Mitchell, which is the best Mitchell she like. But it was just a good one. A good one. I love it. I think I personally, Delbert, I think that NDC choices, especially St. Andrew's choice there. I mean, I know Andal is a good guy. I believe that. I know he's good. I love the choices of St. Andrews. What do you make of the claim on NMP side that these people are inexperienced and they're just looking for a job? What do you say to that?
Well, it is something that works politically. Obviously, I don't buy it because the people, NDC has always put forward a good team of people who may not have had immediate experience in running government on a day-to-day basis, but have been successful at doing other things in their lives. And the reality is that when you take power, what you need is, from your team is strong political direction. The day-to-day work of the government is done by the public or civil servants. So you need strong political direction, bold leadership. And I think more than anything else, that's in the past what has plagued NDC. The leadership has not been bold, it has not been decisive, it has not been focused. All right, you had different people pulling in different direction, and some afraid to go bold, some there's just been a massive amount of chaos at the very top. Mm-hmm. So I am not concerned about that too much. Obviously, there's going to be a learning curve, but I think that they will be able to handle this
I think
easily. And I think that's why I had suggested a couple of weeks ago that one of the things that NDC should have probably done was to name a shadow cabinet. Say who is going to be where, and then back that up with a team of technical advisors who are going to form your sort of governing coalition. And by doing that, you would have sent a message to people that you are taking this seriously and that you're preparing and you'll be ready to govern on day one. It is a sort of tradition in our kind of parliamentary system. Don't agree with it 100%, but I think in NDC's case, they needed to do that because you need to send a strong message that you know how to govern and that you'll be able to do so on day one. Because there are going to be some important portfolios that they are going to have to manage immediately, given the conditions in the country, given the worsening economic situation around the world, and you're going to need expert hands to sort of shepherd us through the next 24 months or so.
When the Prime Minister making claim that NDC had it in 2008, they had it back in 90, whatever it is, and they failed at it. Can you use that same whip to beat this new NDC? Can you use that same whip? And why would he want to do that though? And then
he could use it because it worked before.
Yeah, but do you think it will work now? Can it work before?
Yeah, it's still going to work.
Why?
Because we, for a lot of us who follow this politics every single day, we know differently. But for the ordinary man on the street who is going to decide the political wins in Grenada, that matters to them bigly. In the words of Trump, it matters to them bigly. They want to know that the people who is going, first of all, they know these people, so they know how to reach them. They know, what kind of benefits they can get on the side and all these things. So those things matter in elections. And I think while the NDC has put forward a good team with good experience in other areas, highly proficient people in their field, sometimes governing could be a challenge. It could be a challenge.
But I think for me, I believe that for me, I love the team that NDC have put together. Seriously, the question of inexperience, I don't buy it. For the same reason that these people the NP has also, they had come from nowhere as well in terms of political experience. They had no political affiliation before 2013 and 2018, right? And these people at NDC have been the big four, have involved in more community work, in more organizational structural work than anybody else, right? That big four and just have been involved in a lot of stuff, so you cannot say that, well, if you get government, you can do it. But if you manage small things, I always believe that the level of management that they have been able to, and groups and organizations that they have been in, they have proved themselves to have capital, human resources capital, to do with a number of things.
Yeah, but you have a very inexperienced person at the head of the ticket, so that's why he's going to continue to use it.
Well, I think all that will come to with who you select as your political advisor as well. So remember, politics, every great player in basketball has a good coach, yes? And they can definitely need a good political coach going forward. I don't think he'll be able to just bulldoze his way through that. So one of the things is setting aside.
But are there any indication that is happening?
We don't know that yet. We can assume it.
But shouldn't we? Shouldn't we know?
Yes, but we should know.
So for example, and I hate to make that point here because I criticize people for it all the time, but in a subtle way, right? People want to know who the team you have around you, right? So that's why in let's say in the US election or in the Canadian election or the British election, who is the campaign manager is important. Who is your chief strategist is important. Who is your state field director is important. Because people want to know that you have competent people around. And when you're new to the game, it is important that you tell them. So, let's say it was the leadership had gone back to Tillman or to Nazim, then people kind of know who their people around them. But in this case, he should have really publicly named a group of advisors, and the advisors should have reflected, people from all walks of life in Grenada and people who are knowledgeable about government, about running business, about just about life in general. And I think that would have served him well, much better than keeping that secret right now.
Yeah. But I think personally, I am not a person that would say, well, they wouldn't win. I think the political landscape is still uneven. It's not where you can say, well, NDC will come with a clear winner, 100%, or Dr. Kidd will come with a clear winner, 100%. I think it's right there. Earlier on.
Okay, so everybody, and I speak to people on both sides, all right, and because I'm trying to be really impartial this time around, even though if I'm getting a lot of flack for it, right? Well, the minute you try to be objective or ask a question, people accuse you of that. And like I always say, NDC is the only party that I know believe that they can win by attrition, because anytime you're critical or anytime you make an observation that is not in line with the party orthodoxy, they're ready to kick you out. We don't want you. We're going to kick you out. You're NNP. That's political stupidity. It's nonsense, actually, And like somebody told me yesterday, so a couple of days ago, well, what gives me the right to speak out? I said, well, over the years, I've raised thousands of dollars for NDC. I raised thousands of dollars as part of a group among friends. And from my own pocket, I contributed a lot of money. So that gives me a right to speak out now.
Right.
Okay? So, and even if I didn't do that, I'm still a citizen. I was still born there. I have that right to speak out and call anybody to task on it. And so what NBC, I think because, listen, and I'm going to say something that probably going to get some flack about. I am not mad at the man in Grenada who is struggling every single day to take care of his family, to feed his family, to send his children to school, to do all the basic things, right? Who votes for NNP. I'm not mad at him at all, because he's just trying to make ends meet.
Right.
I am disappointed in the people who know better, okay? Who have other means of employment, who have means of, providing for their family. But for very selfish reasons, for very self-serving reasons, keeps this government in power while it continues to push the country back into another century. All right? But in the same token, because there's a level of frustration among NDC core supporters who really love their country and want to see something different, want to see something better, that frustration can lead you to become very intolerant. So like you're mad, you come home and you say, well, who left toilet in the water? Who left water in the toilet? Well, the toilet is supposed to have water. So you're mad at everything because you haven't had your hands on state power for a long time. And they have to guard against that. They have to be constantly putting out the olive branch. And one of the things that I saw and was very, very surprised at, because I know in my days of recruiting for NYO and National Student Council and all these things, we didn't care. We went into every yard. We went into every household. But in the last election cycle, I saw NDC was just going to people who they thought already voted for them. They weren't challenging to bring people into the fold. And I hope it's happening differently this time around, because we're in bad shape.
I think that was said before. I think that have changed. Based on some of the people have been getting about going from house to house. They've been going to people from the NMP camp and talking to them. There's one mentioned that they can went to somebody and sat down with them for a while. In St. Louis, I think it was an NNP supporter. And in other places, they have been going out there and doing different. I think perhaps by now the new leadership have seen the advantages of doing such a thing. If you want to win the election, you cannot just use your core people to win the election. You have to go to other people as well and report to them, give them a reason why they should vote for you. I think somehow that is being done. What my problem is, I not really a problem, what my concern is that is how well the job is being done to convince that undecided voters. That's my big issue here.
They're going to be the key in this cycle. If they turn out, Dr. Mitchell would be forever called Grenada's former prime minister as of June 23rd, the night. And if they sit on the sidelines, he would be re-elected.
Oh, people know all that. I mean, what you said earlier, a lot of people know that Dr. Keith Mitchell has run Grenada to the ground. He's just concerned about power, not about development, and so on. The sham programs and projects that have been started, never finished. The people who have been marked to do the business end up turning out to be fraudulent people, and so on. And all of this happens. People know that. Why are they still voting in the NMP though? If they know all of that.
Because, well, the people who know that do not vote for him. They either vote NDC or they sit on the sidelines. The people who are voting for him are the people who were, over the last 3 or 4 decades, that they've cultivated a culture of dependency, and these people get regular. Let's call it a political stipend every month for whatever reason, or their families, their kids who have grown up under Dr. Mitchell got a job in this ministry or that ministry, and they surviving. They're doing okay, So they're not going to cut that hand that feeds them. And then there's the other thing that, people tend to stick with the devil they know than the one that they don't know. And the reality is, right, I think one of the mistakes that NDC has made, and certainly coming out of the 2018 election, is that, actually, no, coming out of the 2013 loss, is that they never leveled with the Grenadian people. And it doesn't matter how much you bring in new leadership, that's a monkey on the NDC's back, right? They never leveled with the Grenadian people. And what should have happened is, hey, we really messed up. We messed up. Okay? And we promise you guys that given the opportunity again, we are not going to do this.
Right.
Okay? Here's what we are going to do this time around. So give us another opportunity to lead this country out of the darkness that it currently sits in. Right. And they never did that. They never acknowledged that they made mistakes. They never acknowledged that they didn't show enough, care in a deep nature of caring and compassion to, we knew they took power in a difficult time worldwide economically, but there were things that could have been done. And more importantly, to be constantly communicating to the citizens of the country what was happening. They never did that, and that has sort of become part of the political psyche of many people in Grenada. If you can't level with me and you can't be honest with me, then I have trouble trusting you in the future. And I think that was a mistake on the party.
But I'm seeing a lot of events surrounding the NDC and the quest for political power. And to me, I don't see that level of enthusiasm on the NDC side when in the gathering. Apart from the big rally, you see that big coming together. But on a simplest, most simpler basis, the town hall, you don't see that spontaneous.
That was evident in 2003 and 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see that spontaneous thing. I don't see that. I mean, like, yesterday, for example, I just like a judgment on that. With the vehicle thing, I saw NMP there, and they were spellbound. Like something hit them, and I wonder what hit them with that. I mean, that come out of nowhere. That's a classic support for and drama, right? And that's a sideline out of what we're talking here. But
yeah, but do those things bring out vote? Do they bring out voters? They don't.
That's what I say. I don't say a silent out of what we're talking about here. In the drama, that it seems is like they were shocked. I could see like wow, where this coming from? But it was
but there was a version of that done by NNP very early.
Yeah, I didn't see this one. I only saw the NDC.
Yeah.
This morning, somebody just put on my Facebook page and my not my Facebook on Facebook, and I saw that one, the yellow coffin, and you
remember all the hoopla when what's her name, the candidate for St. Patrick's East, Miss the NMP candidate, when she made that mistake at the rally.
Yes.
And NDC wasted an entire week focused on that. When what you should have been doing then was mobilizing your people to get registered and turn out and then when the Prime Minister, listen, we know a system that the Prime Minister has all the cards, right? He can call election day whenever he wants, he can set the nomination day, he can do it. So you have to be constantly working because you don't know when these things are going to happen. And then when it happened, NDC was complaining, oh, they made the nomination day too tight, too soon, and the last day for registration.
But yeah, but
you had months to do that. You had years to do that. You should have been doing that ongoing, and then so that when it's finally called, you don't really have a problem. But we didn't do that.
That's another thing because election coming up soon and we could be called anytime. We should be prepared for that. So that's a no excuse one. You can't complain about that. You should be prepared for that one. That given that, right? Another thing we have 4 minutes really left here. The whole thing about is that I believe that a lot of work still have to be done on
I agree with you.
It's not an easy walk in the park because I mean people will see what they want now, right? And people who are concerned about their future and they look back and they will say, you know what? I'm not too sure what they're gonna get from this. So we have to the NDC have to convince people beyond the present status that the NMP is providing, the provision that they're giving right now. Whatever they're giving, they have to convince people to give them something better. And that's a big challenge to do that.
So here's my big sort of Hollywood question or Hollywood moment. Let's say the election ends up 8-7. All right?
Yeah.
NDC 7, Kit Mitchell 8. What does the NDC do to form the next government? Can they pick somebody off?
Well, that would be another thing. They have to find somebody, within the
pick somebody who give them not promise them. You'd have to give them an important portfolio on the deputy prime minister.
Yeah. That was like with Baptiste back in it was 95.
How would that sit with other NDC folks? Would they be upset, or would controlling state power be what it's all about? So these are the questions that they should the kind of conversations that should be happening in the back, on the background. Like I said, they should have named a shadow cabinet, and I would very much look forward to seeing him cut the size of the cabinet. You know, this 15, 16, 17 ministers we have in Grenada is not helpful. You know.
You know what? Caution though.
Huh?
A caution for the electorate. If the NDC wins the election, or when they win the election, I think I still feel like a win. I still, have hopes that they will win. I can believe also that it's not that hard, easy to beat either. I still believe that there is an uphill battle. Despite all the rhetoric you see happening, the dancing and the thing, a lot of people who support NMP are still there. Yeah, that base is still there. Although we may tend to believe that some people will not support him, but they just not vote for him, but they're there because they have to be there, right? At the end of the day, whoever wins back, if the NDP goes back in and NDC gets in, the 2025, 2030 will be a very challenging year for any government to rule Grenada. And not only there in Grenada, but the Caribbean as a whole. Man, because look what happened. The world economic crisis is unfolding before us. Yes? There are a lot of things happening, and we better manage our natural resources. Look at that we have, how to be able to turn into food security and so on. We have to be able to tap into our
So having capable people at the top. So who's going to be the NDC finance minister? Who's going to be the NDC foreign minister? Who's going to be the NDC minister of, well, they don't call it communication and works anymore, whatever they call it now, physical planning and.
I see him as the minister of finance. That's Alexander Toes. I see him as that. I could be wrong, but he's the person I see.
Yeah, he has lots of experience in that. He was PS there. So yeah, he fits that portfolio. Prime ministers in the Caribbean have a nasty habit of wanting to take that portfolio.
Yeah.
I hope both Gary and Bishop were smart enough to not do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. But
David going to be a good minister. David Andrew.
Who?
David Andrew, education. I think he will be doing a very excellent job in Ministry of Education. Either he or Tessa. I see Gloria on Women Affairs, Social Services. I think she'll be doing well in that area.
We don't need a Ministry of Women Affairs. Why do we need a Ministry of Women Affairs?
Social Services. In terms of
these things and them should just be a department in a ministry.
Well, yes, that could be, because you need to have that. Yes, I believe that firmly. So you have tourism. I don't know who could be tourism. I think perhaps Mr. Andor might be a good fit for that. He or that.
But that's not his expertise. His expertise is in education and foreign policy.
Yeah. So probably foreign affairs. I think foreign affairs will be a good thing for him. I think he's good there too. So,
yeah, he listen. Personally, I think Andal would do wherever, because he's a hard worker. He's a genuine guy, and he would do well in any position. And he's somebody that I think, given the opportunity, would pull the right group of people around him to ensure that he succeeds, because he's somebody who genuinely cares about improving people's lives. But listen, like I said, I speak to people on both sides, and there was somebody, NMP friend of mine, just I was speaking to an NDC good buddy of mine earlier on today, and then NMP friend just messaged me. Actually, I haven't even read the message. I just saw it pop up on the phone. To form the government, you need 8 seats. So which is the 8 seat? If you speak to NNP, they tell you which 8 they can win, and they're going to win. But if you speak to NDC, they tell you, well, we're going to win the next election, but they can't tell you what are the 8 constituents they're going to carry. Well, so my best reading now is there are 4. St. David's, St. Patrick's West, St. Andrew's Northwest, and Carriacou. Everything else is a toss-up.
What do you think about the South, though? Southeast and Southwest St. George's?
I don't think NDC could win those seats.
You don't think so? I think that's what's going to win this seat. I believe Telford constituency. St. George's, Peter and Claudette. Whoever owns River Road wins St. George's, right?
Peter owns River Road, so what are you saying by that?
River Road is whoever wins that River Road area there. That whole.
Listen, I think that Claudette is one of the true. She's the future of Grenada. She's smart. She's a caring person. She's a hard worker. Just everything. Well spoken. Understands people. Is always willing to make the extra effort to, but she's running in a very, very tough constituent, and they're going to throw the sink and everything that comes with it at her, and she's going to have an uphill battle, but I really hope that she pulls it off this time.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if people really into Peter as it used to be. I don't think so. I think people have.
That's not true. I see that saying, but that's not true. Peter is still popular. He's the only other politician in the NNP that has any national standing, and probably, arguably, the second most popular political figure in Grenada. And Peter has following throughout Grenada. If Peter goes in St. Patrick's West, people know him. Anywhere he goes, people know him.
I didn't know him, but I don't think with the party itself. I don't think that people will resonate to him based on where he's at right now.
But he has never lost that constituency running.
I think no, it's different. No, maybe different.
So you can't. Whatever we want to say about him. So let's go back to my scenario. And NNP wins 8-7. So he can go to Peter and say, I'll make you deputy prime minister and foreign minister. Flip sides.
Yeah. Give him a
and would he take it?
Well, I think Peter. Okay, let me use my analytic brain. Peter would take it.
Devil's advocate, he would.
I think he would take it. Because
by the way, they're good friends, right?
Yes.
They're good friends, and that's one of Peter's great.
Look, Peter does
not keep political enemies.
Peter has been treated well by Dr. Mitchell. Give him that. Yes.
Well.
Has not been treated.
That's yes and no, right? He solved.
What is a no? Yeah.
Well, the only thing is that in the last 2 years, with the shifting of the portfolio, but he served as the foreign minister, which is the position that probably Peter enjoys serving in the most. And your foreign minister, Peter not only has national standing, he's known throughout the region and international, Peter, you don't have to worry if Peter was the person coming to the UN to deliver a keynote address, or going to the Inter-American Development Bank, or going to the World Bank, or going any one of his conferences. He's going to represent well.
He could do that, yeah. And that's why I'm thinking too that would be a good strategy to ask him, given the result. But I think most people are convinced, and the NDC's supporters, school supporters, and supporters that come along, and people who have never voted before or have stressed, I'm going to support NDC. I love Deacon, and I'm going to support NDC. They're all there. They're all there. We can't deny that. There are people who come.
Yeah, but if they were so out there, and NDC was on top of the ongoing registration, what was all about that panic on the last day?
The panic of what?
For the last day of registration.
I don't know the panic. I think there's other persons that needed to get it registered too. I think just about NDC.
But why? You had a year to do it.
Yeah. But I think the whole idea of electioneering, that is what's contested. I don't think it's a question of the panicking over. I think the question of how the Prime Minister is doing electioneering.
But that's how it's always done. The Prime Minister gets to decide the election day. He gets to set the nomination day. He gets to set the last. That's how it's done. That's politics 101 in Grenada. So why would we have expected anything different now? We know that for sure that Dr. Mitchell would do it to suit him when it advantages his political machinery. So we expected that.
I think it's a question of just pointing out the kind of a political machinery, how Dr. Mitchell operates, the unfair.
But if NDC was in power, they would do the same thing. It's up to the Prime Minister.
It's up to the Prime Minister, but probably give a longer time for this election have taken a longer time.
You know, in 2013, NDC was in power, the 2013 election, and they actually made it harder to vote in 2013 than before. Think about that.
Okay.
The 2000 election was a lot of confusion leading into it because they had all these new rules that they put in place and voter ID and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Just pulling out the book from the American failed system. You know, if voting is a right, then you should be able to walk in with your birth certificate and vote.
I agree that. So again, another thing before we go, the question of voter ID. I think the last talk about that. You don't have to get a new ID card. You just go use the old one. What is status on that presently? I didn't get anything of it.
No, my thing is that if I think there was a ruling on that from the parliamentary office that whether your ID was expired or not, and why should your voter ID expire? You know that these are all the questions. You know, so if you have your voter registration card, you have your voter registration card.
What happens here?
You show up on your vote.
What happened here? Look, election day, right? In Canada, the assistant didn't register. She turned. She's 19 now, right? And that will be the first election in that is held in her new teenage years now. And she walk in the election day. She walk in with her passport, driver's license, and she get registered to vote right there.
Yeah, we have to move to that system. We're not there yet, and we probably have to have trial run and experiment with it. Unfortunately, we don't. I don't know when was the last time we had a by-election in Grenada. I think it was 1975. I don't remember.
Let me tell you something. I registered once in Canada here, right? And for federal and provincial, right? And I never had to re-register anything. They send the voter card in the mail for me. And then I walk there with my driver's license, and the card is send the mail for me to go vote.
Yeah.
Go there with, and that's it. There's no other thing they're asking for, just the driver's license. And you know what? After I finished, give them the license, I realized my license was an expired license. But it was the same address that on the paper, just the expiry date was different. Yeah?
Yeah.
It was 2016 and I saw one for 2026, 26, 27.
Listen, obviously we gotta hope for the best moving forward, I mean, listen, Grenada is stuck in reverse, man. We're stuck in reverse,
I want to see an NDC government given another chance to govern Grenada. Given the present construct of the present government, I don't think we have anything better to get from them right now than what we're getting right now. I don't see it. So my thing is, apart from the electioneering, I think that NDC will form a more positive government this time.
But NDC has the party faces an existential threat right now, right? If they don't form the next government and don't carry more than 5 constituencies, they're done.
Yeah, sort of. I kind of.
They're done. No, not yet. They're done.
Seen it earlier on, but I still feel that there is some hope somewhere. They still have a majority of people. They still have
the hope would have expired on 6/23. If the party does not win more than 5 constituencies or do not carry the election and do not win more than 5 constituencies, that's it. It's time to rebrand. Complete rebrand. Get rid of the name, disband it, do something with it.
Even if NDC still command a large group of followers, over 22,000 people following the NDC still. all right, it means
Yeah, but that's not growing. Well, we have to wait and see. That number is not growing. You know,
that was
they've
basically
been at that. They've been at that for a while now.
under NAS. They had the NDC governors more votes in the last under NAS thing, right?
Yeah, but not in relation to population. More vote because more people turned 18.
Right. Yes. So again, no, more people turned 18 this time too. So that over the last cycle of election, there got more people turned 18. So let's see what will happen in the polls this time around. How many people will turn to vote in favor of NDC? Go ahead.
The key thing is that we have to understand that one, Dr. Mitchell is not going to play fair. So he's going to do everything that he can to win this election, including, just anything. He's not going to. He doesn't want to go out with a loss. You can see the desperation in his body language, and you can hear the desperation in his voice. So this is a man who is prepared to do anything to hold on to state power. So NDC has to operate from that position, and turn out in numbers. The only way you can dislodge him is to motivate that 10,000 people who are sitting on the sidelines.
I think that, however, I still believe that there is a shift. I think that there is people that is coming out there. I think there is a new political landscape in with the young people that is emerging, and I think they're attracted to Deacon leadership. There are people who at the beginning didn't feel confident with Deacon, but I think now as time has begun to unfold, they have been able to recognize a difference. People look at him differently now, and start to galvanize support around that. Even some of the people, and these people probably was not happy at the beginning, are now beginning to come out and support Deacon.
But they NEC folks don't like it. There's still a lot of discontent within the party, but there's a lot of discontent also within NNP.
So we can use that.
So what? Instead of trying to beat me down when I say something like that, fight when NNP operatives push that line, push back, because there ample evidence looking in from the outside that the NNP is a party in chaos. The NNP is one heartbeat away from their solution. One.
Yeah, and look, I tell you all that. And the NNP have more problem in the camp than anything else. The big problem. But people not magnifying it. It's there.
It's like a man and his wife who at home. He depended on his wife for everything. She had to cook, clean, do everything. And then all of a sudden she got up and left, or she died, or whatever, and he didn't even know how to turn on the stove.
Right.
And there was an interesting conversation that I was part of this week in terms of looking at, where does NNP go beyond where they are now, if they vote, whether they win the next election or whether they lose the next election. If they lose, there's going to be a struggle for leadership within the party. Yeah. Okay. And I think right now the only person that has the capability to lead that party is Peter. There's nobody else in the party that has the standing, that has the gravitas, that has the kind of national, regional, international outlook than him. So while they are members of the NNP old guard who are not going to be happy, I think the party will only be able to survive if he becomes the leader. Mitchell will only be able to appoint who his successor is going to be if he wins the next election. If he doesn't, he will not be able to do that.
I think one thing, that's why, and based on what you just said there, I think that's a good reason why people should vote NDC. That's the one good reason. Another good reason why they should vote NDC, because the uncertainty of a party in power that will be in disarray, and it's like a volcano waiting to Europe, and it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. So I think it's a good time to think about that one and say, you know what, I don't want to get into the chaos. I want to let me vote them out now and start afresh. A new set of people who've never been in parties before, never been in government before. Let's give them the button to take it to the next level. And I am listening to Prime Minister when he talk about he was referring to his team, but he talked about the NDC team, and that become an endorsement in the NDC circle, and that is using, and I think they can use it as one in one of his advertisement. He endorsed the Prime Minister's message about the team. I don't have it here. Somebody sent to me. I don't know which page is on Facebook page.
There's been some good ads. NBC has put out some really terrific ads this time around.
Yeah, expensive.
But remember, the people who vote in not really seeing these ads. A lot of these ads are just on Facebook, right? And Keith co-supporters not really concerned too much about Facebook. They're concerned about making ends meet on a day-to-day basis. So those ads are not really reaching them.
I think they are. I think they are. Listen, there are a lot of people on Facebook, MNP people trolling NDC's pages. They are there. They know it. They're there. They watch it.
Yeah, but when you look at it, it's the same 24 people on each side. It's not you can't win campaign on Facebook. You got to win the campaign on the ground.
It's true, but again, they're on the ground as well, there. But you can't deny that NDC's on the ground. I think comparing to popular belief that they're not there, they are there.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm saying they're doing a better job this cycle. Yeah. But I'm not. Facebook cannot be our guide to it because, like I said, it's the same 24 people, the same 24 NDC operative who do 90% of the posts, pro NDC posts, and it's the same 24 NNP operative that do 90% of the NNP posts. So you could call them out by names, So we can't let that cloud our judgment in terms of what's actually happening on the ground.
Your girlfriend posting anything much these days? She been trolling trolling my friend Cassandra, and she really didn't have no intellectual property, a real estate to challenge Cassandra. That's too bad.
And what was troubling about that is Cassandra was not taking any political side.
She was
raising issues surrounding the Constitution, raising issues surrounding good governance, raising issues surrounding responsibility, and holding people accountable to what they've done, to what they say, how we're going to get here. If you're saying this and you're saying that, please tell me what is the roadmap for it. Yes. So that has been her mantra. So to attack her for that, for asking questions, is kind of, kindergarten level.
She been really hot, and I tell you, I've been watching and following Cassandra, and it's just non-political. I mean, she's not being a political operator for anybody. She just coming out with the plain truth, And a lot of people don't believe that. Oh, this is the right time to do it. But when would be the better time to do it, though?
That's the equivalent in the United States that when there is a mass shooting, the Republicans jump up and say, "Now is not the time for that. Yeah. Now is the time for thoughts and prayers."
Yeah.
So it's a political season. It's a time for everything.
It's a time for everything. That's right. It's a time for everything. I think that is where it is. My friend Tex is here, and she's trying to get our machinery working for Facebook out there, and we're not having no success. I probably have to authenticate it from my side first because we have a problem.
So Facebook is not allowing you to go live?
A security
link, and you have to get you have to choose their security link in order for us to go live. Yeah. So I'm trying to bypass it, but I can't.
I try to do it, but I have to after the show. I'm doing it on the YouTube right now and share it on other Facebook pages. But I can't share it on my feed. I can't get out of it. I sort of go to say to WhatsApp and then share it to WhatsApp and share it.
Share it to WhatsApp to Facebook. It says link is not so there is nothing. It says unavailable.
Yeah. That's right.
You gotta fix that. Yeah.
it's not happening. So that is another thing. So we gotta get them today. I've opened that right here after I finish the show.
And even if you set up a new page, that wouldn't work around. That wouldn't be a workaround.
I got a page. I'm gonna use them. The one I use on the main computer here, I gotta switch gears and see what happens. Because on my phone, I can get it on my phone. Yes.
Okay.
Then I get it on the computer. I use it my main computer for authenticating the shows and stuff like that. So I gotta switch that.
Okay.
So text.
All right, man.
Text me. Can I come back tonight? 8 o'clock. I'll continue this conversation. I hope Hudson could join us tonight. And then
be available.
And then it's Charles. Huh?
It's Saturday night.
Saturday night. Yeah. Hoping that we could get that up and running by this afternoon. Get it done. Yeah. So I have a song for you, man. That's about a St. Patrick song. Yeah? I have two to give you. Yeah. You heard this color one already? Come home?
Yeah.
But this one, and here it is.
Just show them your 14 finger. Represent it. How you come? Just show them your 14 finger. Represent finger. For and all. For and all. I can feel it in my gut. Them two giant from the north. You see on election day. Them two going all the way. Joseph and Dad and Dennis Canwall. One very intelligent, perfect man to represent. Joseph and Dad and Dennis Canwall. The other is capable, a support of the people. Joseph and Dad and Dennis Canwall. Time to end the suffering. Let we stop the bellowing. Who we voting? Voting NDC. Who we voting? Voting NDC. St. Patrick's West. Voting NDC. St. Patrick's East. Voting NDC. Voting for we future, so healthcare go better, and for agriculture to be at the center. For us to get rid of all of this strife is substance over hype. How you come? Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. For and all. For and all. I can feel it inside me. Change is coming finally. The historic capital is going to stand up tall. Joseph and Dad and Dennis Canwall. One from the bowels of Shanti, a people person totally. And Dad and Dennis Canwall. The other from River Sally, that's when he's able to string Jerry Vandal and Dennis Canwall. Time to stop all the complaining, put an end to all the whining. Who we voting? Voting NDC. Who we voting? Voting NDC. St. Patrick's West. St. Patrick's East. Voting NDC. Farmers gone to half up, the youths go start to pop. Our contractors gone to be in business. We getting rid of all them bacchanal type. It's substance over hype. How you come? Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Just show them your 14 finger. Voting NDC. Represent it your 14
Yes, I think Patrick Northeast and Northwest. They're voting for the finger. You like the one there, but that's a nice one. I love that one. It is a good one. Textman Warren, I know it.
Yeah, just texted my NNP buddy, and he made a very interesting comment. He said he sees momentum on both sides with the base of both parties.
Right.
All right. And that can speak well for NDC, but the reality is that NNP has a deeper and stronger base going into the election. So if that's where the election is going to be won, then that's problematic. But he also made the point that in his view, the portion of the people who generally sit on the sidelines, who come out and vote, generally would vote with the party that they think is going to win.
Right.
So I think it's important that NDC project
that's
a winning attitude. Yes. You know.
I think now NDC have proven themselves in that to be the party of choice. I think that is done. I think even you have more songs than last election, more people coming out and more bold about NDC than before. You see them, and in the streets, you see it on the streets. So I think the winning attitude that is, something that was being said earlier on. And I think I said, don't say if we win, say when we win. I think it sends a clearer message, a more like Muhammad Ali, before you win most of the fight, before you get in the ring, by intimidation, by telling the opponent, I'm going to knock you out in the third round. And they're expecting that. So they fight you and expect them to get them knocked out.
Yeah, they're scared shitless before that anything. Yeah, those things, those kind of psychological mind games do have an effect, So,
and I think I think another thing that has been said is the St. David seat with Posirida and Deacon, right? And in that emerging of Posirida coming out in the functions now, where he was not before. So now you see him coming out and supporting Deacon and speaking in that regard. And I think today somebody posted a picture here. No.
Well, you don't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice.
Right? And then you have the Prime Minister saying, how you could have a deputy leader and a leader in the same constituency without a seat. I think it wasn't the Prime Minister, I think it was Bola who made that statement. Sorry. Yeah. So that was a big hearing that was thrown there as well. But now you see that
that was one of the early faux pas, but they have moved beyond that, So I suspect if you're a political leader, you get to pick where you're going to run. The problem didn't start with him picking to run in St. David's. The problem was agreeing to have both political lead, the top two leaders from the party come from the same constituency. Now that was the problem.
Yeah. So my concern was, and I think a lot of people there's a lot of people who still believe that Deacon going to lose in St. David's. And so that is left up to see. But I think based on what I'm seeing from St. David's and hearing from St. David's people, Deacon going to win. That's a given from. So what?
Yeah, even from diehard NNP supporters, you're hearing the same thing. So it looks like they have maybe conceded that seat already.
And that's the thing, when you look at NNP leadership right now, you don't have that fire. You don't see that fire in them anymore. There is when they go to speak, you don't see that. You don't get in that vibes so much. You're seeing. I don't know about you, but I want to learn about reading body languages. You can look at somebody and know not what they're thinking in a sense, like you can't hear the voice, but you can feel their emotions by their actions. Yes. And I see a lot of that on NNP side. They're not sure of themselves yet. They're not sure they're going to win this thing. This new NDC hitting them left, right, and center. There's a nuance coming on here. I could hear it in the Prime Minister's voice as well, that the uncertainty of he winning a next seat, is really, really, really starting to resonate among them. And if you don't change that in the next 2 weeks, it will be a different outcome altogether for them. Total outcome differently for them. You can. I don't know if you're just playing dead to see what funeral you will get, but in this time, I don't think you gotta play dead to see what funeral you get. I think you just have to be alive and you know, even though you're going down, still kick. You know, you can go down in defeat with thinking that you will not win. You know, you have to keep your momentum up, and I think that's what you have to do. I think the moment. I mean, even yesterday with those guys and them with the vehicle thing. My point here too also is that you should. I mean, why stand and watch them pass? Just galvanize your troops right away and say, hey, let's chant. You know, let's get the momentum going. The guy walking the flag, there's one, the people stand on the other side, like, oh my God. These 4 guys alone put them stand up. I mean, that shouldn't happen. I tell you, this should be like, come on, let's chant, we chant right now too. You know, and they didn't do that. There was dying moment right there for them. There's no action taken and after that. It just go down. And I think that sends a very, very damaging message to them. You got to be better than that. Tex, where are you? Is Tex there? I Tex gone. Tex is part 19 or what? Tex gone? Yeah, Tex has gone. Left the building. All right, so but we'll see tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, my brother.
There's some thing fix here, so we're going to link up later on. All right?
All right, cool, my brother.
Yes.
How could we forget Progress Park?
No disrespect, but could you step aside? Another man wants to take over.
This Sunday, June 5th, the NDC Army invades Progress Park. Everybody yellow. The St. Andrews Big Four take center stage. Gloria Thomas coming down from Northwest. Tessa Sincere from Northeast. Lennox Toes Andrews coming with the whole of Southwest. And everybody in the Southeast coming up with David Andrews.
St. Andrews Southeast say only David could beat Goliath.
The NDC charismatic leader, Dickon Mitchell, will deliver another powerful presentation. Don't get left. Contact your constituency office early for transportation. The East Side swell up this Sunday. Progress Park from 6 p.m. Guest performances throughout the rally this Sunday. Everybody yellow.
So we're moving forward.
Yes. They're moving forward, and St. Andrews Northeast, Mutoke to Progress Park. They're asking the persons in Tivoli to assemble at 3 p.m. Tivoli playing field. Departure time 4 p.m. Let's move Grenada forward. Tessa, yes, the real thing. The tailor-made. Yes, that's my sister right there, man. My God, sister, that's who she is, Tessa. And I have Gloria from Lafayette doing out there, doing her thing. So let's see what happens over the next couple of days to come. We have a couple 20 days, 19 days left. 18 days left, 19 days left, somewhere around there. I don't know exactly how much days we have left, but whatever days that is left, you gotta make good use of it. Make it count. Yes, make those days count. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed afternoon and talk to you later. See you on the other side of the fence. Yeah. All right, and yeah, that's it. Go there. Okay, this one cannot open up. Hold on. Yeah, we have to do what we got to do.
Honestly, tenderly, keep the cherries calling to me. Well, I'll fix the thing, you know, you can hear what he say, but when I listen to it, I change the thing and I sing I find you tired, softly and tenderly, scholar is begging my PM. I hear you saying some things on the platform, and they make me very scared. Playing you cry.
Clement, I find you losing your What's wrong with you, Mango? Gotta go down, and I got smack blowing you. You should be home in your nice sweet bed, resting and shaking a glass. Instead, you'd be on that damn platform, crossing and playing me. You have to go down. And you don't know about pray. And you have to go down. And then you come up now. I will give you one more. You saw almost everybody already. But I hear you calling man Susie. Well, if he is Susu, then you are a Chinese. And your new name is Sui. Tell Miss Delma, right now I'm behaving because I like me cake with photo twice in. Don't tell me I should study my retirement plan. Put the ass for live cake day and bad about pension. Sunday for election. I'm want to be Sunday for election.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's where I get to get off. So have a blessed day, everybody. God bless you and make you a blessing. Join us tonight at 8 p.m. when we'll be right back here again in this studio doing another live on Gemfm. But you can continue to follow us at www.gemfm.ca. That's where we continue doing our show 24 hours a day. Non-stop radio programming on gemfmradio.ca. All right, check us out. Tell somebody, bring somebody with you tonight, and let us have fun. One love, my people.